Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Podfathers, the best parenting podcast in the universe, tolerated by Barstool Sports. It's your pal Clem here. It's Pop down in Jersey. It's Daddy Boy Chapsy in Tejas, and the Podfathers are back for another week. If anyone can see on the YouTube right now, we always talk about the YouTube. If you look behind me, that's darkness outside. We're recording this
exactly right, yep.
at 9:30 at night on a fucking Monday. I would say more than half the times over the last week, I've been asleep by 9:30 at night. But our guy Large has us working the midnight shift right now, so we're all here for the family right now.
Before we get into it, I want to ask you guys your nighttime routine, because I've been talking to my therapist. He's very big on saying I need to have some clean sleep patterns. I stay on my phone too late. I watch TV too late. What time are you guys shutting it down? Because I like to shut it down. What is it? Taffer, where he's like, shut it down.
Shut it down.
I wish somebody would walk into my master bedroom at around 9:15, 9:20 and be like, shut it down. All the lights except for the TV go off. Then at 10 o'clock, the TV goes off, and then we try to go to sleep. That would be that's the ideal weeknight for me.
So my nightly routine, Chaps, yeah, it sounds like I'm just like you. You know, they say like if you're a car, right, you should kind of like gently hit the brake. What do they call it? The Cadillac stop. Should nestle to the light, turn off. I am fucking going 100 miles per hour. I don't even hit like the brake. I just hit the e-brake because I'm on the phone, and then I just close my eyes and try to just go to sleep. It's the dumbest, worst move ever, and it's one of the many reasons why I have junk sleep every single night. I am enthralled to hear the big man his nightly routine. Like Annie like rubs his calves with like some like
wearing one of those
veal
night
milk
hats like Ebenezer Scrooge.
A nice tea at exactly 98 degrees. Like, Large, let's hit us with it because this is going to be the best part of the podcast.
I can't do tea around bedtime. Caffeine keeps me up.
Yeah.
No, I don't do green. I don't do green. Half on it. Well, some people swear by melatonin, the sleepy time tea.
Oh yeah, the whole squad here. We are all like, we got an alarm on the Google that goes off every day at 9:20. Everybody take your melatonin.
Really?
Yeah, the whole squad does it.
CVS is loaded with it too. Ever since the pandemic, I've noticed melatonin is the hottest thing in the fucking streets right now.
But us folks that have like a personality, we're like, melatonin, I'm sleeping good with 3 milligrams. I'm gonna pump that shit up to 20. Next thing you know, you're down in half a bottle because it tastes like fucking grape gummy bears.
I can't lie to you either. AJ has dabbled with the children's melatonin. That's a little dad hack for you guys out there.
Yeah. Instead of the Benadryl like we used to talk about, like before a long flight, nobody looks at you poor if you're like handing out just some melatonin gummies to everybody on the plane, instead of those bags where it's like, sorry, I have trouble regulating my ears when I'm on a plane. Just give everybody some melatonin.
Yeah, and we were a little skeptical at first. I think it was like the Jessica Alba Honest, one of those like fancy celebrity companies that everything is supposed to be, on the up and up. We're like, oh, if they pitch it to us, the celebrities, they would never trick us to make a buck. Let's just give this to our 3-year-old. And you know what? He sleeps at night. So how does the half a hundred guy sleep at night?
Not that well. I mean, I usually I go to probably the last person to sleep in the house. Mick has weird sleep patterns too. Now that he's off for the summer, if Finn's not working an overnight shift, he's usually down earlier than me, and he probably goes up a little bit earlier than me. So I go down at like probably around 12:30, and then I'm usually asleep sometime around 1:50. I'm asleep before 1:30. And that's my thing. And then I always, regret it. I had to get up at 4:00 this morning for a flight, and I still went down around 1. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It was a problem too with the radio show. I don't get as much sleep as I should. I don't. And I love a nap. I love a nap, and I love them even more nowadays, even the ones that aren't planned. Those ones like when you sit down, where the fuck am I?
I had one of those on Sunday, brother. Whew. It's when you have one of those bad boys, it is something special. Down here in my office, I'll kick it down, like, because upstairs it gets really expensive to have it like super low. But I have a individual unit for my office. I'll kick that bitch down to 68 and pass out. It's awesome.
But that's prep. Like, and it used to be that's the only way I could take a nap. Like, it would be like, Annie's like, where are you going? I'm like, I think and I would put myself away, and it would be a couple hours. But now every now and again on the couch, head back where you wake up and you're a little bit crippled.
We call that in the Marine Corps. We call that bobbing for cock. Is what we call that.
Yeah. So I found doing it, but I just my sleep is I get the least sleep in the house, I would think. And then just with the way that Barstool is so flaky, I sleep a little bit later in the mornings. Like let's say, Mick gets up first in the house at like 6:30, and I've always been a 5 o'clock guy. Always been like when I was working and all that stuff. And then even when radio, I was 5 o'clock guy. Now I'm a 7:30 guy. Like and that's I'm the last one up. If I get up at 7:30, everyone else is showering and whatnot. I go down and make some breakfast, and so that's it. So I sleep from about 1:30 to 7:30 every day.
My eyes open no matter what at 6:15 every day.
Every day. I take a leak probably 3 times a night.
Oof.
Ooh. And let's also not forget that part of Large's sleep prep is getting the CPAP machine fired up onto his face.
Top Gun, though, that's hot now. He's hot with it.
So that's it. But even like in a hotel, like I sometimes you guys good in hotels without the family and stuff. I'm so used to.
Oh, I take so much 3-chi in a hotel that I just sit there and scroll through TikTok and just enjoy myself until the wee hours of the morning. I will stay up late as shit in New York in the hotel for sure.
I did. We were out late in Nashville with Glenny Balls, who, by the way, say what you want about Mincy, Glenny Balls is the fucking king of Nashville. Holy shit. I mean, outside of Dave and Dan, most popular guy at Barstool, hands down in Nashville. There's no doubt in my mind. It was unbelievable. I mean, you're singing with the band, taking his shirt off.
It's
girls
incredible.
all over him.
He had some girl spreading her fucking butt cheeks on YouTube the other day.
100%. Yeah. So he's I was like, is this pro bono for you, Glenny? Because you're just living that life,
He is.
And, yeah, he really is. He's really.
And there was a time, remember, Clem, and you might have been there too, Large, at Barstool, where people were like, well, what's Glenny gonna evolve into? Glenny's evolved into like his own brand. He's Glenny Balls. Like anything that he's on, he's like the ultimate elevator. He's probably like a Nick Van Exel, where he's like a 6-man, can come off anytime. When Nicky came off, you have instant offense. You need something to happen, bring out Glenny Balls. Something's gonna happen.
Well, these girls from OnlyFans, like they'll come on his show. And I don't even use that word loosely anymore. Like I used to be like show. They come on a show and go from 5,000 subscriptions to like 40,000 subscriptions overnight. That's real fucking money. Real money
clout too, yeah.
And I'm like, is there any way you guys could profit share on that shit? Like, because hit it now. Like Glenny should be making money off of OnlyFans the way he is making these girls into not millionaires, but damn fucking close.
Glenny should start his own OnlyFans, and when people come on, they have an exclusive video that's released only on Glenny's channel, and then he links to them.
This feels like we're inventing pimps for OnlyFans. I kind of like
exactly what I called him. I was like, Glenny, you are now you're a pimp. He's like, yeah, I'm okay with that. By the way, that kid.
But the nicest pimp of all time.
And it would. Oh,
he would
Glenny
never
in a pimp outfit. Can you imagine Glenny head to toe in a typical pimp outfit from the 70s? Ooh, that's the new Bulls beachwear.
This
Pimpy balls, baby.
Kid Rock's bar in Nashville. Like there's a couple of people. Like Jason Aldean has a bar. Luke Bryan has a bar. Kid Rock has a bar. They had asked us, you guys want to go down to the I think it's called the Dungaree Pussy. And I was like, I'm out. I thought it was going to be like a strip club. I'm just not a strip club guy. They're like, no, it's the VIP section. Of course it is. So we go down to the VIP section. It's an overhang above the bar. And this band that's playing to this huge room, this huge bar room at Kid Rock's thing, this band was awesome. Awesome. All covers, obviously. Awesome. Great playlist and all that kind of stuff. I'm taping it, sending it to Finn every time they do like a Van Halen solo. Just out of nowhere. I'm like, Glenny, doesn't that bass player look like Robbie? Glenny? And there he is climbing over the fucking thing, jumping onto stage, taking off his shirt and singing Give Me 3 Steps, Mister. The whole fucking song. The whole song. And there are 350 people in the place. It was incredible. What really was like the highlight, because the NASCAR race itself had a couple like thunder and lightning delays and some rain delays. But holy shit, Glenny Balls, the fucking king of Nashville.
People forget when Glenny first came into Barstool and he interviewed to be Caleb's intern. And Dave was kind of, skeptical. They were kind of just asking what you do, whatever. And then on the way out, they goes, "What do we call you? You go by anything?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, my name is Glenny Balls." And Dave's like, boom, you're hired basically on the spot. Because his name was Glenny Balls. He does have a quick first step, ran a fucking really fast 40 for Caleb on the New York City sidewalk. And Dave just has that eye for talent, whatever you want to call it. Now he's his own industry.
Lest we forget the Johnny Manziel video.
Yes, has good hands. So.
Does he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Manziel didn't lead him well. I mean, honestly, if you're going to put the blame on anybody in that Manziel Glenny Balls video, it's got to go on Manziel. You got to know that you can't lead Glenny Balls to the outside right. No chance. You got to bring it back inside. That's on Manziel.
Yeah. So Glenny Balls, the king of Nashville, not a shock. NASCAR race, everything was good, large. Everything was good down there.
100%. We were with Will Compton. I had never really hung out with Will except for one time at McSorley's that one night, and I was just in passing. I got to spend some real time with Will Compton. He's a very charming dude. Will Compton,
very nice.
He could get it. That guy could get it. You know what I mean?
He's very handsome too.
Yeah, I wrote a blog last week about how I would, push came to shove, how I would blow him. Mm-hmm. And he was like, he brought his wife. It was their 1-year anniversary. He was like, "Honey, this is that guy. He wrote about wanting to blow me." And she's like, "Oh, hey, I love the blog." I was like, Jesus Christ, you forget, when you hit enter on these things.
Uh-huh. The worst one that I had like that was we had an astronaut who's now a senator, Mark Kelly, on the show. And Feidelberg had written a blog about him a few years prior where Mark Kelly at the time had spent the most time of any American in space consecutively. He has an identical twin brother, and NASA chose both of them because they were both Navy pilots. And when he was up there, he lost some of his height. Well, Feidelberg blogged about that, but he's like, no one even cares about that. His fiance is an absolute smoke show. And then he posted a bunch of pictures of Mark Kelly's wife. He brings in his wife whenever he sat down to do an interview with me. He brings his wife into the studio as well. And the first thing he says when he sits down, "Who's the person that wrote this blog? I would like them to come in." So John had to come into the studio whenever Mark Kelly was there. And he's like, "I want you to explain to my wife why you thought that was a good thing to write." And John was, to his credit, he's like, "Honestly, it's because you're pretty beautiful. Like, that's the reason why I wrote it." I loved it. It was awesome.
That is awesome.
That's incredible. Oh, man. All right. So moving on to some stories from the blog. And before we get into that, we're going to talk about another means of media that used to be Glenny Balls had a role on there. He was played out. Our pals at Sirius XM. That's right. We have the Sirius XM app. You can listen at home or anywhere you'd like. No car required. Everyone was listening in the car back in the day. They're blowing it up on your phone, online, at home. Over 425 channels on the Sirius XM app. You can enjoy ad-free music channels for every genre and artist. You get your world-class news. You have your sports, biggest stars in entertainment, all that kind of stuff. Chapsy, what's your go-to Sirius XM channel?
Well, I'm glad that you asked this because I was about to interrupt you and say that the local sports radio here in San Antonio is the 6th largest city in the country. It is an absolute abomination to the Lord. The type of radio that we have, the dudes who do it are just fucking terrible. And I told you I have to drive like 30 minutes now to take McCartney to school or pick him up in the afternoon. And that shit sucks. I got so tired of listening to the radio channels here that I went back and put Sirius back on my phone that I hadn't had since I stopped being a host on Sirius. And I'm like, I'm back in. Now I think it's about to be back in like a week and a half. Yacht Rock. Summertime Yacht Rock, when you have that.
It's back.
It's back now?
Yeah, it's permanent now. They put it at the top they put it at the top of the dial though, but yeah, it's back.
Nice. So that's one when I know it is back. We hook up the Bluetooth, we put it on the speaker, and we just hang out at the pool. I love that one. Yacht Rock.
Can't go wrong with that. I'm a 90s on 9 guy, and what is it, Fly XM? I believe that's like the old school hip hop, 90s, 2000s, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no matter what you listen to, Yacht Rock, hip hop, sports, whatever it may be.
If you want a channel that'll make you want to kill yourself, listen to their TikTok channel number 3. Jesus Christ. Don't listen to that bitch if you're half hungry.
Yeah, exactly. Largest age himself.
Stay away from channel 3. More on Dave Matthews Radio or something like that.
So no matter what you want to listen to, you want to listen to Yacht Rock, you want to listen to the TikTok channel, number 3, you want to listen to 90s on 9, subscribe now and get your first 3 months free of the Sirius XM app. Visit SiriusXM.com/Podfathers offer to sign up. Offer details apply. Again, that's SiriusXM.com/Podfathers offer to sign up. Our story of the day here, talking about our boy Glenny Balls, Mr. OnlyFans himself. Biggest news of the week last week. Denise Richards has made her debut on OnlyFans just days after her daughter, Sammy Sheen, announced she was going on. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills alum, which, by the way, Denise Richards, forever the alum of Wild Things.
Wild
right?
Things.
Yeah. She announced in her Instagram story she was going to take the plunge as well. Denise will be charging $25 for her OnlyFans account, while her daughter, Sammy, will be charging $19.99. So 2 things here. One, it sounded like both mom and dad, Charlie Sheen and Denise Richards, weren't thrilled about Sammy joining OnlyFans. And then Mama Bear goes out and stunts on the daughter by going $5 more per month. Chaps, thoughts?
Well, my first thought is OnlyFans money is pretty fucking good, man. Like, and I imagine that both of them are raking it in hand over fist. And I think my position on this has changed. Almost everybody's naked. Like at some point now, like Kate's talked about it before on ZBT. She's like, look, I work at Barstool. I don't do anything like remotely. Like I'm not modeling bikinis and shit like that, but my nipples have been out on Instagram twice because of breastfeeding. And it's not a big deal once you do it. So I think after you release your first nude, what's 1 million more, right? Like if one of your nudes leaks, what's 1 million more? You might as well make a shit ton of money from it if you can. And Denise Richards and her daughter are going to make a shit ton of, I guarantee you her daughter will make more money this month in OnlyFans than I'll probably make all year. Guaranteed.
Yep. It's funny money at this point. Everything's funny money. What about you?
I mean, you got people who are nobodies that'll go on there and they're making fucking 6 figures a month.
It's craziness. It's fucking craziness. Large, what are your thoughts on all this as the senior member of the podcast?
I don't give a fuck about this. Like Denise Richards, who, by the way, was stunning, is stunning, 51 years old, I think, 51. I got 0 problems with her. Wild Things, iconic scene. Starship Troopers, right? She's a couple of things.
Yep.
Yeah, I loved her.
Bond Girl?
Christmas Jones, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Christmas comes twice. That was the line.
Right. The world is not enough.
Right? First time I saw Wild Things, fellas.
But this doesn't get me off the couch, to be honest with you. Like I don't belong to OnlyFans, honestly, and that's hand to God. Yeah. And I try to think, like I always see these headlines, people going in and making millions. Who would get you off the? Clem, do you have a subscription? Come clean. Yes.
No, I don't even know. I don't even know what they do, to be honest. Is it pictures? Is it videos?
I think it's like Facebook for like porn. Right, like where you can go in and
dads talking about OnlyFans and don't know what it is.
No, like I've been on it, like just because it's in like people's link trees. So you go on it and you'll see the avatar, and you can kind of, because we used to interview a stand-up comedian, Karen Fian, and Karen had her thing, so she used to go on all the time, and we would like bring it up on the desk. In the studio whenever she was in there. So I've been on it. I've seen like the format a little bit, but unless I'm honest to God, I'm trying to figure out who would take me off the sidelines for it. And number one with a bullet, I would join OnlyFans tomorrow. And now listen, this is weird. If Dolly Parton went on, I've been waiting for those fucking things now for half a century. Like honestly, I've been waiting for a half century. So even though they're beat to shit, they're 36 longs or whatever the hell they are now. I have no idea. I would come off the fucking bench for that. Otherwise, I don't know who else. Maybe Michelle Obama? I don't know.
Listen, as married dudes, after a while, the sexy picture from your spouse dries up. Like that well dries up and they're not wanting to do it as much. I think, what if your spouse was like, look, you start paying me, I'll start sending you the pictures again whenever you're out of town. We doing that?
No. I haven't. No.
I might subscribe, honestly.
Can I tell you right now, if somebody in our office was to go on it, like that I know or something like that, I would think that Annie would sign up. Like, let's say, like a random
Just to be
Good-looking girl.
supportive.
Just say random girl, Large. I don't want to edit this fucking
just a
podcast.
random,
Frank the
good-looking
Tank.
Random boy too. Yeah.
Joey Canasta.
Mhm.
Like, I think, there would be something like maybe you'd want to see that. Like, you know what I'm saying? If it was a friend, any friend, like maybe I would want to do that, but I would do it under an alias. I'd have a burner to go in and take a look at that. So honestly, it doesn't move my needle. I think it's kind of, weird that they're both going on together. And I know that's the thing we live on, but these headlines just pass me the fuck by. I don't give a shit.
You know what OnlyFans is? It's the new Playboy, where when someone would go in Playboy, like if Dolly Parton had been in Playboy, everyone's buying that issue. When Denise Richards was in Playboy, people bought Sable. I remember Sable was the first holy fuck moment for me as a kid, where it's like, I'm going to finally see those things that I've been staring at my TV. And
Brian Austin Green.
Brian Austin Green. My current girl, if I had to choose one to get into to pay for an OnlyFans, it would probably be Stacy Keibler. Going back to the wrestling, that was my still my love to this day is Stacy Keibler.
What about Stacey Carosi?
Stacy Carosi. She's not linked with Scientology anymore, right? That was she's now, I believe, is against Scientology.
Wait, is Stacey Carosi from King of Queens?
Wow, Chapsy.
What?
Live reveal on the show.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, baby. Leah Remini.
My goodness. What a career. Honest to God. What
and decades.
Incredible work.
And then the most impressive thing about that career is when Kevin James had his new show. Weird. Do you remember when Kevin James had his new show? They wrote out the old wife and then they just put Leah Remini back in and they just made.
Oh, but that's an old editing trick. They do that all the time. That happened with Aunt Viv too.
Yep. But the fact that they took a wife and husband dynamic that already existed and brought it to another show. Anyway,
New Girl happened too. The first cast of New Girl, the pilot episode, not the same Winston.
Oh, I don't know my New Girl.
By the way, I met Will Compton's wife, like I said, and I don't know what her real name is, but Will's like, this is my wife. Her nickname is Charo. And and everyone's like, didn't bat an eye. And she's like, oh yeah. Because she knew I was old and she knew Charo to me was when she was a guest on the Love Boat.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I was spilling seed like fucking Michael J. Fox in a garden, right? And
yeah.
I loved her. I loved Coochie Coochie. So she said that to me. She came over, she's like, Coochie Coochie. I'm like, yeah, Coochie Coochie. No other person knows who the fuck Charo is. And I don't know what her name is, but Will's wife, her real name. But everyone called her Charo. Thought it was pretty hot.
I also have a OnlyFans confession to make. I've never been on OnlyFans, and I still don't know how the website works. I've created an OnlyFans, though.
Whoa.
Yeah. It was – this is such a fucking idiot Clem thing to admit. I created it, and this is my thought for OnlyFans. This is before it really, really turned to porn. I believe Asa Akira, our former coworker, was the one who really turned it into more of a porn site than just a fans paying for content.
He's an innovator.
Yeah, an old-time innovator. I did it, and I named it, I think, Only Fantasy Football. And basically, ever have a fantasy football where you could just isn't it nice to just talk to someone about your team and they care about it, or maybe give you some pointers, or just someone that roots for your team? And I said, I'll be that guy for you if you join my Only Fantasy Football OnlyFans for what is it, $5, $10 a month? I thought
you still getting any money from that?
I never actually launched it. I went through all the steps to get it done, and then it was but it was in February. So I was like,
we
all right,
should do
next
this show on
season.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And there might be a Barstool guest that might pop on at some point. Who will it be? Will they be naked? Will they be clothed? You'll never know. Hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe and find out. I like the way this is going, Chapsy. I like the way this is going. We're going to get in some mailbags now. And speaking of our guy, Large, talking about spilling seed, outside, you need some growth. You need some green outside in your luscious yard. It is the summer. Your yard is your personal oasis. It deserves the best. And what are we going to do to get the best? We're going to get Sunday. That's right. Sunday helps you grow a beautiful lawn, control pests, and fight weeds without the toxic stuff. So your kids, your pets can run around. Even blue cheese can run around and not have to worry about the nonsense that is in your lawn to help it look green. Sunday's custom lawn care is effective and super easy. Just go to getsunday.com. Put in your address, and their lawn analysis tool does the rest. They use soil and climate data to create a personal nutrient plan delivered right to your door when you need it. I told you a million times, you have the Google map of your yard. You feel like you're living in the future. It calculates all the acreage, all that kind of stuff. You send them your soil, and they give you everything from some scientist's brain to get right to your door to help you grow some nice grass, and is made with your family and pets in mind. The ingredients include seaweed, iron, molasses. We just had a stoolie reach out, said he put it on, wasn't a problem at all. It was Podfather friendly, which means idiots can do it. And Sunday is offering our listeners 20% off. Full season plan start at just $129, and you get 20% off when you visit getsunday.com/podfather at checkout. That's Podfather singular at checkout. That's 20% off your custom plan at getsunday.com/podfather. Today's mailbag comes from our buddy Kyle. Again, if you want to send stuff to the mailbag, podfathers at barstoolsports.com or Instagram or Twitter DM us to our boy Joey. Kyle, I've got a question / plea for help. On Thursday, June 30th, I am beginning a 12-day, 2,800-mile road trip over the 4th of July week with my wife and 6-year-old son. We got a 6-year-old son and a wife here. We'll be visiting family on both sides, but after Colorado, it's just the three of us. They're going Colorado, Houston to Fort Worth to Amarillo, Colorado Springs, Santa Fe, Las Cruces, New Mexico. Is that correct, Chapsy?
Yes.
Yep.
Carlsbad, New Mexico, Big Bend National Park, San Antonio, might be visiting the Chapsy family, and they're going to Houston to wrap things up. 2 questions. 1, do you have any advice or tips for the car rides for the 6-year-old and me? He's got the tablet and the Nintendo Switch already.
I gotta say, first up, don't take this trip. That trip just sounds like a terrible time. I mean, not only like how long you're gonna be in car, but the locations that you're going. Every place sucks, like except for Big Bend. And if you're going there in July, buddy, it's a fucking drought. You guys are gonna have a miserable time at Big Bend. It's gonna be like 110 degrees. It's been 105 every fucking day for 3 weeks straight. It's not even July yet, and already in the month of June, we've had 22 days of above 103. Why you're going to Big Bend Park now when it's completely dry, I have no idea. This trip is a mistake. And in fact, it's such a mistake and there's so little planning. I rebuke this guy. I hate to do it, but I have to.
All right. First, before you say that, he wrapped his email up with "Love the show, glad you're back. Fuck Joey Langone." Does that lessen the
No,
review?
because if you listen to this show, you know how hot it is. I've been complaining about it for a long time, and the fact that you would be wanting to go to Big Bend National Park in early July is absolutely insane.
Now, our boy Kyle here, he says this is on Thursday, June 30th. This episode is going to air on June 30th.
They're going to hear it on the way. They're going to be like, this trip is a fucking mistake.
Now, I'm going to upload this at 6 a.m. like I always do.
Okay.
Texas time, that's 5 a.m. If he can catch it and just say, maybe turn around and, 20 miles into the trip, just go home, go to a water park.
Find a nicer, who's picking these places? Colorado Springs, that's where the Air Force Academy is. By far the worst location for any of the major service academies. And that place looks like a fucking meth town. The mountains are nice, but Colorado Springs sucks. Barstool sent us, we stayed at the nicest hotel there. It was an absolute shithole with roaches all over the place. Colorado Springs is the worst, man. Where else are we going? New Mexico. New Mexico's fine. Amarillo? You're going to Amarillo on fucking purpose? My dad had a stroke in an 18-wheeler and lived the next 6 years of his life in a nursing home. Is that what you want?
You have a 6-year-old son, Kyle. What are you doing to yourself?
This is unbelievable.
I love how New Mexico's just fine, though. Shout out to everyone from New Mexico.
New Mexico doesn't get enough shine for the tourism industry. I'm not in a place to be like, I'm going to shit on New Mexico. Everyone should go to New Mexico if you get the opportunity. It's lovely.
The only thing I know about New Mexico is everything I've seen from Breaking Bad, and it seems like a terrifying place to me. It's absolutely terrifying.
Not great. You do this trip in like November, December, my reaction is completely different. I mean, but including Amarillo on there at any time. No one should ever go to Amarillo, Texas.
And this is my pal Kyle. I bet this is like he's off from work for the week, looking to get some nice time out with the, son and wife. Sounds like he's going to be more tired and worn out by the end of it than he is at the beginning of it. Driving in the heat? Fuck that.
You better, with all that money that you're going to spend on gas doing a 12-day road trip, just go buy a stock tank pool, put it in the back of your yard, and just sit there. You'll have a better time.
Large, you going to tell Kyle into this trip, or are we?
He seems like a fan, and I'm trying to play devil's advocate, but I have to plead ignorance here. Like, I don't know. Yeah, and I've done road trips. I've done like 6-day road trips with kids that are a lot, older. 6 years old. I mean, he's not that bad. He seems like he's hooked up pretty well with this. I got the switch and all that kind of stuff. So he has it. There's got to be some drugs involved. You have to have the kid just below junkie.
Melatonin back again.
You have to have him there fucking just below junkie for that trip, like where he's asking for it at night. Like, hey, dad, like fucking, honestly, like a crackhead. But I'm totally ignorant to this. And from what Chaps is telling me, I feel bad. I feel like, like I should start a fucking fund for him,
We've been a republic for 250 years large. No one has ever taken this road trip ever. Like this exactly.
Really?
I mean, these cities that we're going to back to back. I mean, Houston, Fort Worth, Amarillo. That's like a who's who of where you don't go. Like Fort Worth fucking sucks, man. Like that shit. It's a shithole. And then Houston, I will admit, Houston's nice. They got some good barbecue, great food scene. Easily in the South, if you consider Texas part of the South, I would say it has the most diverse cultural cuisine of any city in the South, like Texas included in the South there. But other than that, your Texas stops are just poor choices. I mean, Fort Worth, Amarillo, Colorado Springs, and that's the way it starts.
You sound like Stephen A. Smith listing off like a team of players he doesn't like. Slava Medvedenko.
This feels like reading the fucking 1997 Indiana Pacers roster.
I'm pulling for Kyle. I'm pulling for Kyle. I would not that I would put money on it, but I'm hoping that this guy salvages something out of this.
I mean, hopefully that 6-year-old gets enough melatonin where at least our guy Kyle, if he's going to be driving this long for this many days and that many miles, he deserves a little bit of a roadhead. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
If he's not getting that thing sucked on, what's this whole thing about?
The craziest thing is I'm pretty sure based on the itinerary, he starts and ends in Houston. I think Kyle lives in the best stop of the entire trip based on if I'm reading this correctly here, Chaps.
No.
Should he just stay in Houston the whole time?
He's going, oh my God, he's starting in Houston and ending in Houston. This road trip is just something special. I mean,
all right.
This seems like something that the will would make him do on the yacht.
Yeah, this is something that like KB and Nick would just get thrust
it's like
into.
KB's wild. You have to do this road trip, 2,800 miles.
So his second question was, any suggestions on places to check out or avoid along the way? The avoid along the way is everything you just listed.
In between Houston.
The highway.
Yeah, everything between the two Houstons seems like they're a legitimate problem.
I thought he had asked this, and I don't know if I
mean,
read
it's
it
just
wrong.
A weird fucking Western loop. Like, what are we? We need more information.
What's he driving? Like, that maybe he's got like, the big old fucking. I don't know.
Is this just a fancy way of saying we're going to Colorado Springs on vacation? Like we're going to Colorado Springs, but on the way we're going to check out these other things. But who checks out fucking Santa Fe, New Mexico? I mean, I know I said I wasn't going to shit on New Mexico, but who makes Santa Fe a spot, like a must stop? I'm sorry. I apologize to Kyle.
I'm looking at the map here.
Apologize. You rebuked him.
You rebuked him. Yeah, you rebuked him like 15 minutes ago.
Guy's hat in hand, just looking for some fucking advice.
You start letting me record after 9:00, honestly.
Yeah, you did say on the record you're 3-cheating right now, so I don't know what Chaps is even going to remember this in the morning. Just how out of pocket he's gone on our pal.
No, I'm full. I have all my faculties. I hate this trip for this guy. I mean, I hate doing anything outdoors here. Going to Big Bend in the summertime, and he lives in Houston. It's not like he doesn't know. Like, to me, this is a mistake that somebody makes that lives in like Montana. You don't think about it. Like me, when I booked my trip to Maine, I wasn't thinking about that they have a huge mosquito issue in the summertime. I wasn't thinking about that it's going to be 50 degrees at nighttime. Like, and I'm going to have to bring hoodies and shit like that. Just like somebody up there, you don't really think about it's going to be 105 degrees walking around Big Bend National Park. Look at Big Bend. Pull it up right now and see what it shows. It's a desert in the wintertime. 105 degrees, 110 degrees out there. It's going to be miserable.
I was actually just looking at the Big Bend park here just to see what the hell is going on. We'll pull it up on the YouTube, the old trusty YouTube here, just to get an idea of what we're looking at.
Oh my! This is a nightmare for me. This trip would be a nightmare. I mean, I was just in.
When the water levels are good. It's a
Oh
nice
no! Oh no! I don't know if you guys can see this on the YouTube here. There's 3 alerts in effect right now. If you go to the Big Bend site,
I fucking told you guys.
alerts
This
in
guy.
effect. Number 1,
With a
trail
6-year-old.
park closures. Trail to hot springs closed. Recent river flooding has damaged a trail to the hot springs, and the hot springs are filled with sediment. Not good. Number 2, danger. Extreme heat warning. Big Bend is a desert park. May to September temperatures over most of the park will reach over 100 degrees. You should stay off the trails in the afternoon. And then
that's by late morning. It'll be well over 100 by lunchtime. And it doesn't stop. The hottest part in the day here on the East Coast, there's another thing that people aren't from here don't realize. When you're in New York, the hottest part of the day is like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Here, it's like 6 o'clock at night, like 5 or 6 o'clock at night. So you have the hottest portion of the day from basically 1 o'clock all the way to like 7.
Oof.
No me gusta.
It was 102 degrees at 8 o'clock the other night when we went swimming on Friday. 102 at 8 when the sun was down. It was 100 degrees.
Chapsy, I think I have a good set of places for him to visit here. All right. So just close your eyes and let me take you on a journey here. We're starting in Houston. We know we're starting in Houston.
Okay.
We're going to go west. We're going to pack up the van with the kid. We're going to head west, load up the Nintendo Switch, make sure all the things are checked. We're going to stop in Clovis. First place we're going to stop is Clovis, New Mexico. Then we're going to go to Santa Rosa, New Mexico. Then we're going to go to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Then we're going to go south a little to a little place called Los Lunas, New Mexico. Oh. Then we're going to go to Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. Maybe stop at Roswell, New Mexico, Carlsbad, New Mexico. I believe Las Cruces was already on the list. And then we're going to wrap things up in Las Vegas, New Mexico, because that's just a funny thing that there's a Las Vegas, New Mexico. How does that sound, Chap? Does that sound a little better to you?
Anything that keeps you out of Amarillo and fucking Big Bend in the summertime, good with me.
All right, so New Mexico.
I got a better one. He's going to get in his car in Houston, and he's going to drive to the Houston airport. And he's going to put his family on a plane, and they're going to fly to Buffalo, New York. They'll rent a car, and they're going to spend 4 days by Niagara Falls. Boom. Right? It's going to be about 80, maybe. And you're going to get the Maid of the Mist.
Substantially cheaper, too, I would imagine.
Wet your kid. Yeah. Go on like a little rocket boat or something like that. Mm-hmm. Try and find some good restaurants on the New York side. Everything is touristy on the Canadian side for the most part, or go deeper into Canada. If you're in Houston and you're used to having hundreds of degrees, 100-degree day all the time, why wouldn't you make the June trip just to go somplas north?
Exact reason why I'm going to Maine. This is not a trip that you do. Like this is
perfect example. You're right.
This is
go
the
to Providence.
Get on a fucking plane at one of the biggest airports in the country and go to Cabo San Lucas for the same price.
No, don't go hot. Don't take your 6-year-old from 100 to 100.
Take $200 out and go to Dave and Buster's and go back home.
But Indianapolis, go to St. Elmo's Steakhouse, get the greatest shrimp cocktail you ever had. Then fucking fly home and shut up.
Mm-hmm. It kills me that I cannot go to Disneyland in August or Disney World, because it's just going to be hot and you'll be sweating your ass off during the summer. That's the best time to go because the flights aren't through the roof. But anytime I want to go during the year when the kids have off in, say, February, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the flights are $1 million because everyone is flying to Florida. I love nothing more than to go on a random July weekend, but I will not take my kids into Florida in the heat during that fucking time of the year. Don't stay in that heat that time of the year either, just because you're down there, Kyle. Go north. I like that. That's a good call, Large.
I'm fucking furious with Kyle, honestly. Like, if he is he should have known better. Like, if he's a consistent listener, to say that we're going to do a 12-day trip. I don't care. You could be doing a 12-day trip through the Smoky Mountains. You could be doing a 12-day trip through fucking the Alps. And I'd be like, with a 6-year-old? Come on.
This economy?
This market?
Yeah, no. With Biden at the wheel, get the fuck out of here.
Has anyone, I was thinking, because this is completely wrong as it turns out, because Texas wasn't really a part of it. Do the Oregon Trail. Just fucking relive it in the modern days, right? And just go to Fort Walla Walla and all the. I think I was thinking of Dulles instead of Dallas. That's why I got Texas on the mind.
I would rather be bitten by a Texas Eastern Diamond rattlesnake than go on this trip.
Would you rather get typhoid?
I honestly, I would rather get shot again than do that.
So there you go, Kyle. Kyle, I thought asked this, but I don't see it in the question. I don't know if I saw it somewhere else. I thought he said, what are some good Switch games for the kids? So I had a couple in mind. Chaps, do you rock with the Switch at all? I know McCartney has a Switch.
Yeah, we do a little Switch goofing from time to time.
Is there any game that you like or Cardi likes?
This guy doesn't deserve it. Honestly, he doesn't deserve a game. But if he had to pick one, Tetris is it. Like, you get Tetris and that's all. Maybe Dr. Mario.
Boomerang Fu. Boomerang Fu is a very fun game. It was, I think, like $2. It was on sale, and it's one of those stupid, fun, quick games that you could play forever with your kids, and it's something that even AJ can play, and he's a 4-year-old, so you got a 6-year-old. That'll be a good one for you and the kids. And play the old Mario games with them. Get the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo. It's free to download if you have the online, I think. Just play some Nintendo. I think you can do that, even if you're not online. We're going to go to some Am I the Assholes now that we just got one. I don't know if anyone's gonna be able to trump.
I feel bad about that whole segment with Mark. Or Kyle. Sorry,
they called him Mark.
You just renamed him.
You rebuked his name. Oh shit,
fucking Kyle.
Oh, and we have a picture of his kid, and he's a cute kid, and that kid has no idea.
Adorable, yeah.
That kid has no idea what's coming to him the next week.
By the way, Clem,
this kind of judgment is the reason why Texas A&M hasn't been in a national championship game since 1942.
Is that a fact?
That's a fact. Any sport, no national championship game since the 1940s. I think it's actually 1940 on the dot.
Is there like an asterisk? Is that like 42? They only made it because World War II was going on and all the other teams were out fighting the good war, the Great War?
Probably, yeah. And probably. Like, we got to do farming stuff. And everybody's like, okay.
And everyone at Texas A&M, they were draft dodgers. And they just stayed home and played football. Fucking
sad,
Texas
yeah.
A&M.
By the way, I played a lot of video games today with Billy Mitchell.
Oh, you son of a bitch. All right, let's have it out right now, old man. Let's have it out right now.
We're doing some branded content for New Amsterdam Vodka, and they sent us a console, giant, video game console like you get, and it's got 1,000 games in it or something ridiculous like that. So Billy Mitchell came in. He's here tomorrow, too. We rented him out for 2 days, and he's hosting, and I'm hosting, and if people get in trouble and they need a lifeline, Billy Mitchell could step in and play a game for you for 5 minutes. It's pretty cool. I mean, he's a character. He did Pardon My Take, and I said, Dan, how was he before I had to go and do this thing? Dan's like, he's definitely an alpha. I'm like, oh, I know. Yeah. But he's a little bit uncomfortable. The first episode was a little bit slow because, I don't think he expected to be there with a bunch of 20-somethings who are pretty unaffected by just about anything that resembles a celebrity by this point. Mm-hmm. I mean, try to impress somebody at Barstool with a fucking celebrity. And I think it's going to be good. So I was playing a little bit of Frogger with Billy Mitchell today. A little Frogger. Went old school. Yeah.
Anybody who doesn't know who Billy Mitchell is, your homework report from the Podfathers is to watch King of Con, Fistful of Quarters. It is the greatest cinematic achievement in the world. It's like a documentary about the Donkey Kong record back in the day. And it seems like it's a parody. It's very real. It's just very weird people in this movie, and I think it's on Netflix. I don't know if it still is. Again, Dan and Dave have talked about it a million times. I saw it before I started working at Barstool, but they've always sung its praise, and I'm thrilled to hear Billy Mitchell's going to be on. He's on Pardon My Take this week?
I don't know when they're going to air it. Because it's kind of evergreen, I believe.
Yeah.
And so maybe they'll share it closer to time this airs. I don't know what the guys plan on doing, but yeah, he's a good guy. Pretty good guy. We're mixing up drinks and doing all that stuff, so it's good.
I'm devastated to know that I miss Billy Mitchell at HQ. There's only a few people that I said I need to meet in person. John Madden was one. He's dead. Billy Mitchell, missed him. Alex Trebek was one, dead. So, not doing too good right now. I'm doing better than Kyle, at least. I'm going to Delaware. I'm going to have a great fucking time 4th of July week, unlike our pal Kyle. But I cannot wait for this content. I wondered, did anyone even know who the fuck Billy Mitchell was?
Nobody.
Yeah.
No. I mentioned it to Dave because Dave was in the office last week, and I said, he's like, yeah, I heard. He's like, that guy was my white whale for a while. Like, that's what he said. I was like, oh, really? I've never seen King of Con, Fistful of Quarters. So I had a flight back, like I said, early this morning, and I rented it on Apple, whatever. iTunes, I guess it would be. and I could not. I downloaded it, the whole deal, and then I got very old on the plane. It was 5:00 in the morning. I couldn't fucking get it without a Wi-Fi signal. I couldn't get the fucking thing, so I went in absolutely bone dry on the guy. And I read up on him, so it seemed like I went through it pretty well. But so I haven't seen him. I'm going to watch it tonight before I go back in with him tomorrow because I heard it's pretty extraordinary.
Okay, yeah. So that's your homework assignment, and the way you look at him now and the way you look at him after you see that movie are two different things. It is a must, like the must of all must watches. Again, Dan and Dave. I was one of like the 16 people Billy Mitchell followed randomly. It was one of my favorite little stupid things about social media.
Jet black hair.
Yes.
When you get there, like I had sent a selfie of me to Annie. I think I sent the same one to you to Bust Your Chops. He actually looks like a cardboard cutout. The outer rim of his hair doesn't have a single split end or anything like that. Would lead you to believe that it wasn't part of just some greater mass. The guy is a throwback. He's got a handler. He's got a couple of restaurants and stuff like that. But like his high score in Pac-Man is 3,333,654 or something. Because Pac-Man gets up to like a kill screen. Yep. So there's a finite amount of screens that you can get in Pac-Man. So he has to amass as many points before he gets to that screen. I think it's like screen number 324 or something like that level. And you can get, 3 and a third million points by that. I mean, the guy was talking about it. We spun the wheel and got like one named thing. And so we had to go to another thing. And he explained to me that Galaxian is the precursor to Galaga. It's pretty cool. Just pretty cool.
So in this movie, King of Kong, it's just a bunch of nerds who are, again, geeking out to video games and stuff. And Foul Ball Guy is in it. The guy, Zach Hampel. Except you don't know. This is before he was known as Foul Ball Guy. And he fits in with everyone else in this seamlessly, just to let you know the brand of people you're dealing with. It is it's an unintentional comedy goldmine. And
it's not on Netflix. It's not on Netflix anymore. But you can get it on demand if you have like Showtime or something. So they took it off Netflix because that's what I was going to watch in my room. And instead I rented it on my phone. I couldn't get the thing to play.
Or
very old manish.
I'm going to try this here. Let's see if this works. Yeah. Or you just go on YouTube for free. You can watch it on YouTube for free.
Oh, is it?
Just search King of Kong Fistful of Quarters. You'll get it there on YouTube for free. What you can't get for free, but it's someone that'll put you in the perfect place to watch King of Kong is get yourself some 3Chi. We just talked about it. Our boy Daddy Boy is 3Chiing right now, and he is having himself a hell of a time. He went into a bad place with our pal Kyle, but you know what? Kyle's going to be better for it. He's going to be a better father and a better man for it next vacation. Maybe not. Oh, man. You're tough today, Chapsy. You're really tough. Oh, man.
I hope this guy has a great time.
Honestly,
I hope he stops at the first Buc-ee's and says, you know what, I'm just going to pay the lottery. And I hope he hits fucking.
There is a beautiful Buc-ee's down I-10 in his way. Like he's going to hit the biggest one in Texas. It's in Lowling, I think is what it's called there. And they're actually extending it. It's one of the biggest one in Texas now. They're building a new one. It's going to be 4 times the size of the current one. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
The jerky counter there must be absolutely breathtaking. So he's got that. Yeah, we're starting to pick out some.
You walk into that fucking place and you order a kolache, you'll literally
kolaches.
Yeah.
Again, this is a late recording right now, so I'm going to put it on that more than anything. It's definitely not the 3Chi because the 3Chi, it is the federally legal version of THC, a more functional alternative to marijuana. It'll keep you nice and awake here, make you feeling good. It will give you a buzz though, so it's not your CBD and all that nonsense. It gives you amazing buzz and a great body feel with a clear head, less anxiety and paranoia. Chapsy, what was the poison you picked? Was it a vape? Was it a gummy? What did we go with?
Gummy Town, always.
Gummy Town. That's right, baby. I always say start with half. If that after like a little while, good half hour, if that hasn't hit you hard, you could do the other half. Take your time with it. You get your drinks, you get your edibles, your vapes, your drink enhancers, all that kind of stuff, your tinctures. And if you visit 3chi.com, that's the number 3chi.com, and use promo code STOOL5. You take 5% off and get a free can of Fan Flag sticker. That's right. Get 5% off all products at 3chi.com and a free can of Fan sticker with promo code STOOL5. We'll do this real quick before we wrap up. Am I the asshole? This one I think is going to be a layup here. Am I the asshole for telling my husband to quit waking me up? Every time my husband, who's a 37-year-old male, wakes me up, a 29-year-old female, in the middle of the night, he wakes me up fully just to ask me what time it is. Both of us sleep with our cell phones charging next to our bed, so it's easy for him to reach and check his own phone instead of waking me up. My husband says I'm being the asshole because I'm making a big deal out of nothing. I say waking me up for something meaningless he can do himself with less effort than he expends asking me shows a complete disregard and proves how selfish he is. We both work full time with jobs and have an infant. I do 100% of the nighttime baby duties because my husband's commutes farther than I. So he says it makes sense for him to let him sleep longer since he has to be out the door before I do in the mornings. I need to be clear. I'm not complaining if he wakes me up due to the baby needing me. My complaint is strictly that he wakes me up just to ask me what time it is. Anyway, am I the asshole for complaining and telling my husband to cut it off, or is he being needlessly insensitive to my needs?
Just buy a clock, right? Just buy a fucking clock, put it next to his bed, and he'll be able to see it.
One of those ones that projects on the ceiling.
Yeah, anyway, or a glow-in-the-dark fucking wall clock, like something that's not overly. It's the easy. This is the easiest. People done problem solving nowadays. Are we all fucking done with that stuff? Buy a fucking clock. The projecting ones on the ceilings are awesome. They are, and then you can point them to whatever wall is closest to him, whatever wall, perhaps his floor, the back of the bed, so he can look through the headboard, whatever he wants. It's the easiest thing in the world, and no one has to stand up. But otherwise, yeah, I would say that he's choosing himself over you. He can go fuck himself, and you should tell him such. But it's easy. $19.99 on Amazon. You know what? Just get me their fucking address. I'll send it. I'm done with fucking. I'm done with people now.
My take is that she should instantly divorce this guy. Like, this is just, you can't tolerate this kind of thing. Like, if somebody doesn't value to the point where they're asking, I mean, legitimately, if this is like a one-time thing, you laugh it off as like being cute. Oh, she's in like a fog, whatever. She's not realizing what you do. Multiple days of waking up an adult, because adults aren't like children where you can go back to sleep easily. If somebody wakes me up and I'm angry that they woke me up, I become like furious. Like what Large was talking about at the beginning of the show, when you're having like a surprise nap on the couch, if you're sitting there watching a ball game or you're watching golf or something like that, and you doze off, and one of your kids are like, "Hey, Dad, can I have an ice cream?" You're like, "You little piece of shit. Do you realize how I won't have that many nice naps for the rest of my life, and you take it from me?" If I wake up in the middle of the night and you say what time it is, I'm done.
Hashtag done?
I might be hashtag done, because that's just such a blatant disrespect for you as a person.
Yeah. $27.99. I think that's a great clock. That's like a little bit of ambient light. $27.99. Just get me, and it changes. Like, so sometimes it's like fully black with just a toenail, little sliver of a moon in the background. Toenail clipping, which is my favorite moon, the toenail clipping moon.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's the greatest moon in the world. So,
and if you don't want to spend $29.99, you could take your ass down to Kirkland's on Memorial Day weekend. You probably get it for $11.99.
Do you call Costco Kirkland's, or is that the name of another store?
Kirkland's another store. It's always by Target on the outside, kind of by Cato too.
Interesting. So Large says buy a clock, Chap says divorce, and I say if you want to murder this motherfucker, there's not a jury that will convict you. You'll be a hung jury every time, because anyone who has their sleep, their naps, let alone their REM, losing your REM,
Juries do not tolerate you shitting on somebody's bed. Nope. They do not tolerate you waking somebody up and asking them what the time on deck is. They just flat out don't.
Testify, Chapsy baby. Large has an entire fucking mask that he wears to bed every night, so he has a sound sleep. And your husband's asking you. He has a cell phone right next to his bed. That's the biggest. She's finding out the time the same way he's finding out the time, grabbing the cell phone and hitting the little screen and seeing the time. Murder. Or you have. This is what you should do to your husband. Say, I'm sending you on a trip. And you send him to Amarillo, Texas.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Banish his ass to Amarillo, Texas.
I'll tell you the time when you've spent 1 week at Big Bend.
It's been a week at Big Bend with their heat advisories. Large, look like you wanted to say something. Did I interrupt you?
I have 2 masks. I do the one over the eyes and 2 on top of it. Imagine if Annie was like, and I'm like, like I just got out of a fucking ocean and I take the other thing off, like I just got through hitting a pinata, and I'm like, what? She's like, what time is it? I'd be like, bitch, are you you better get yourself to the stove with that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that would be the most disrespectful thing you could do.
I legitimately, like, in a relationship, a consistent relationship, waking someone up consistently to ask them what time it is egregious. It's just egregious.
It's I thought you were gonna go on another Stephen A. Smith rant there. It's outlandish. It's preposterous. It's goddamn near criminal.
Goes without saying.
It goes without saying. All right, so we can wrap up the show right now. But
This guy and Kyle should be married.
I need to know if we're going to be pursuing this. Earlier in the night, Chapsy, our pal, Dan Big Cat Katz, watched The Land Before Time. Started The Land Before Time. Turned it off after the earthquake scene because it got a little too scary. Who was it too scary for? Not me to say. Could have been him. Could have been Little
Probably
Cat.
Ally
Could have been Little
yeah.
Kitty. We don't know. Nonetheless, we had two. He said, does it hold up? And first of all, it does hold up. Second of all, though, do not watch Land Before Time. Even if it's one of my favorite movies growing up, do not watch Land Before Time because you know what? You're going to be a puddle of fucking tears by the end of it because it just hits different once you have kids. You agreed. You hit me with the yup. Going to be a pile of tears. Our pal here, Adam Bremer, said,
not my pal.
To avoid extra sad, don't look up the Wikipedia entry for Ducky's voice actress. Are you rebuking Adam for putting this into the Twitter world?
Yes. I mean, just flat out, yes. Longtime Steely Ducky didn't deserve that. Like to have that be the last taste. Dan's bringing back an old classic that so many of us in our age range are like so attached to because it was a huge dinosaur movie. I would say that it put dinosaur movies back on the map for our generation, more so than Jurassic Park. We were so into Jurassic Park because we had laid the foundation with Land Before Time. Ducky's doing his part, being absolutely adorable, being one of the stars of the film. And you want to mention his death when Big Cat's son gets exposed to him the first time? Just absolutely uncouth.
Do you know who was the big wig who made Jurassic Park? Who was the Hollywood big wig that made it?
Steven Spielberg.
Who executive produced Land Before Time a decade before Jurassic Park? Steven Spielberg.
That's two mind-blowing things. I had no idea about Stacey Carosi, and I had no idea about Steven Spielberg and Land Before Time.
That's right. We educate on this podcast as well. And trust me, I have a very fucking warm spot in my soul for that. Diana Ross, if we hold on together, I know our dreams will never die. The whole fucking journey to what's the name of the Great Valley?
Place?
The Great Valley,
yeah.
Right? And Littlefoot with his tree star, that bitch Sarah, she's a
relax. She has a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, she has a lot of personal stuff going on. I mean,
she's basically an orphan.
Yeah, she's a bitch, though. Littlefoot becomes an orphan because his mom saved her ass, basically. All right.
You have no idea what it was like growing up as a Triceratops. None.
Long story short, we rebuke Adam for if you want to find out what happened to the Ducky, the voice actress.
You're not going to hear it from us.
You're not going to hear it from us. That will not.
You hear it from me. Her and her mother were killed in a double murder suicide by her father. She was only 10 years old. Absolutely fucking tragic.
And then we have Matt Lynch. He tweeted
twisted history, guys. You got to embrace it, or else we're doomed to repeat it.
Matt Lynch tweeted out on her. He tweeted out the marker that she has her grade. It says, "Our concrete angel, yup, right on the fucking thing." Not good. I don't like it. It gets pretty sick. It gets even sicker than what Lar just mentioned there. But rebuked. No one put any of that shit in the universe. No bueno. Do not like it. Need a little breath mint to finish the episode here. Large, give me a good story from your fucking trip.
The Little Rascals. It was originally called Our Gang. It used to be a series of like short movies, then it became more of a series, television series. You remember like Spanky Alfalfa?
Yeah, long-time story, Buckwheat.
Absolutely. 8 of them died tragically, including Alfalfa, who was training the dog, wasn't paid for it. And I think he might have been stabbed in the belly. So Liza Minnelli's mom, you know her as Judy Garland, forced by, I believe, MGM Studios to have 3 abortions before she had Liza Minnelli. We do the Twisted History of Curses this week. Can I tell you the story? There is a movie out there. It's called Atuk, A-T-U-K. A-T-U-K. You never heard of it because it was never made. It was a screenplay, Twisted History of Curses. This screenplay was cursed. It was supposed to be like a dark comedy played by a comedic actor. One of the first people to take a pass on it was Robin Williams, who, of course, died tragically when he committed suicide years later. The person who signed on to do it was John Belushi. And before they began filming on it, John Belushi obviously had overdosed. He's in Speedballs. So Atuk, main character, John Belushi, dead. It goes into hibernation. Finally comes out. They cast somebody else for the main role. You know who it was? Sam Kinison. Sam Kinison, within 6 months,
I thought you were going to say Amy Winehouse.
Hit by an oncoming car, him and his wife. His wife was buckled up. She survived. He wasn't. He died. Boom. So now Sam Kinison, John Candy. After that, Sam Kinison, John Belushi. After that, John Candy is cast. Right before John Candy dies. After John Candy, you know who's cast? Fucking Chris Farley, who takes the role because his hero was John Belushi, and he heard that John Belushi wanted to do the thing. And then fucking Chris Farley is cast. And you know who's Chris Farley's co-star in the movie? Phil Hartman, before his fucking wife killed him. Atuk, A-T-U-K. It's an Inuit screenplay. I don't think we're allowed to say Eskimo anymore. It's an Inuit screenplay. It's wild. And there was one other guy who was a head writer at SNL who was thrown in there too. His last name was O'Donoghue.
Atuk is a city in Alaska, right?
I believe so. Chaps, I never heard of this. The people that were mentioned as being the potential leads in this, who had died within 6 months or so of it, were all at everyone's like, oh yeah, Sam Kinison, but he's no who's the biggest guy now in the stand-up world? Maniscalco? Oh no, who's your biggest stand-up now?
Like Tom Segura?
Chappelle.
Yeah, Chappelle, yeah.
Kinison was Chappelle. There was no bigger comedian than John Belushi, right? I mean, there was, right? All these guys were at the top of their fucking games, all wiped out. The same thing. Atuk, look it up.
I rebuke Atuk, and I rebuke Mordecai.
I want to look in starring in that movie, honestly.
Chapsy, before we wrap up, give me a fucking dad joke to breath mint that awful story Lard just gave us right there.
Twisted history.
Why can't a leopard hide?
Why, Chapsy?
Because he's always spotted.
There we go. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Stay safe and stay sane out there, and stay away from that sick fuck large twisted history this week.